Welcome to Pots, Pans, and Pioneers. Today I want to talk about social media responsibility and accountability. One of the things that I thought would be a good vlog today, and just, you know, I do my channel for many reasons. I do my channel because I want to document some things I want my kids to learn. I want them to see how I lived, my grandchildren to see how I lived, and the philosophies in which I live my life. And that's real important. And I think with the social media that we have today and all the things that we how fastly we can be connected to people across the world. I mean, within, you know, a comment, we can be connected with them. And we have a responsibility and accountability, you know, to be our best. Anytime you want to meet somebody for the first time, you want to give your very, very best impression of who they are, of who you are, to them, so that they can, you know, see that you're a good and decent person. And I don't choose to please people in my life. I don't choose to, I'm not a people pleaser by any stretch. People that know me know I'm more of a cross between Joyce Meyer and Joan Rivers. And I'm very blunt, I'm very outspoken, but I never seek to hurt anyone. And I'm careful with my words. I think thoroughly what I want to say ahead of time. It's the collaboration of that. So I wanted to share with you an experience that I've had, and I guess it keeps happening, so I'm referring to some advice my dad gave me. He always said that, you know, when someone calls you a bitch, you can ignore them. When a second person calls you a bitch, just ignore them. But when a third and fourth and fifth person calls you a bitch, you may want to think about why you're being called a bitch. So I'm always self-aware of how my words affect other people. And because I want to genuinely get to know people, I take the assumption that, you know, they're not going to take offense to what I'm talking about. Or my comments to them or anything like that, because I always think humor opens the door for great relationships. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's probably not a good approach. This halfway through my life, you know, I'm constantly ever changing. I'm constantly trying to be better. And, you know, I want to always give the best impression to other people. And I know you feel that way too. We don't need to be people pleasers to want to be a good person. But I'm going to share this experience with you. I've had two experiences where I've reached out to other YouTubers and tried to initiate either a question, a concern, or just a general knowledge question, so that can help me better understand, you know, their information that they're providing on YouTube. I didn't approach it with humor, but I approached it with being inquisitive, so that I would get a better response, because obviously you don't want to, you know, reply to comments, or I don't, with sarcasm, because what we need to understand about social media is everybody doesn't know you. They don't know how to take your comments. There's no body language, there's no eye contact, and there's no voice tone, all which are encompassed of communication to other people. So I remember, I'm this old, but I remember when email first came out, and how we had to become better writers than we ever were before. We've had to become really good writers at grammar and punctuation and sentence structure and all that, because in the corporate world, you know, your first impression was an email to people that were within your company. It wasn't necessarily, you know, the welcome email, welcome to the company, and then that's how you communicated more than likely. Instead of standing around at somebody's desk talking, you would email back and forth. So I am the generation that was around when email first, obviously, started. So I get the fact that, you're not going to have a lot of, personal touch or voice tone or interaction. And now everything's gone to text messaging and comments on social media. So no one really gets you. And so we have to choose our words very, very wisely, and within those words, get to a point quickly without offending. And I guess the few times I've reached out to people on YouTube, I've got a lot of comments that I've made that have gone really well, and I've developed relationships with many YouTubers via email. But there's a channel, a homesteading channel, that I subscribe to, and I don't want to call them out, but I want to explain it to you in a way that doesn't justify what I did, but certainly you can see how it could have turned. My husband and I, instead of watching the nonsense on TV, we have subscribed to several YouTube channels with information, excuse me, and guiding us through what we're going to begin our journey into living in a homestead situation. Because no matter what another person's experience is, you can always have a takeaway, something you can learn from it, And so I reached out to this couple who, they're both on their channel. They share the channel back and forth. And it's not our Half Acre Homestead, so don't think that. Me and Bev are cool. But it is a channel that is fairly new to YouTube, and they have a extensive blog, and they're flipping houses to make money. They're living completely off-grid. And they're a young couple, so much younger than my husband and I. So I've watched their channel for some months now, and they posted an article on Facebook, and they were asking for comments and video ideas and such. And so I decided this would be a great opportunity for me to ask, out of curiosity, why when they video, they constantly repeat the same information. I mean, they'll say a sentence, and then a few seconds later they say the same sentence, they just use different words, and they construct the sentence a completely different way. And it's very distracting as a viewer, because I'm telling my brain, I think I just heard that information. So it's a distraction, and we all get a choice of watching the YouTube channels that we want. For sure, I can watch another channel. So please don't comment, don't watch them, watch another channel. Their content and the subject matter is excellent. The attitude towards their homestead and all of their information, excellent. But I was really shocked. I think I typed like 3 sentences basically that, I really enjoy. I started out with a compliment. I really enjoy your video channel on YouTube. My husband and I watch it quite frequently. We enjoy it. It's full of solid content. And I'm curious about why the information is constantly repeated. I don't understand why. I think if you transcribed your video, you could see where you constantly repeat things, and I don't know if there's a purpose for that. Are you filling video content, or what is the purpose of repeating the content? And I was bombarded with a response that was like an entire book. I was of just name calling, belittling him. I had no idea he had a disability. He doesn't tell his viewers he has this disability, obviously, and I had no idea that that's just the way his brain operates. I didn't have a clue. And instead of responding to me, hey, just so you know, I have this, disability. We're working on the channel. It's new. We're evolving it. I'm going to get better. I obviously offended him. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to offend him. I was curious, and these people are highly educated. They have college educations. they articulate well. It wasn't like it was obvious to me that there was a disability. So I wouldn't have been sensitive to that, and perhaps maybe I should be sensitive to that. And I'm a little thrown off, but what I want to share, and mainly to my adult children, is many times you don't really know who you're dealing with, who you're talking to. And we all have to be compassionate, and we all have to be sensitive to other people and the way that they share information. So what I'd like to do is in this video with cognitive thinking, realizing that you have no idea who you're dealing with, who you're talking to on a comment on social media. For sure, you don't. And social media can, or even responses to emails can hurt our family and friends and people we don't even know. Because my response back to this long attack on me was, wow, I had no idea that you had a disability. I was inquiring. I wasn't being mean, or I wasn't trying to come at you. You have taken my comment out of context. And his comment back to me was something along the lines of, I'm a grammar Nazi. I am not the grammar Nazi. And he claimed that I must have had people in my life that really was real critical of me, and that's not true either. So I don't know where or why he responded the way that he did. I just know that I obviously touched a nerve. I obviously hurt him. I obviously offended him, and I obviously caught him at a really bad time. So my reply was an apology. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. I think I said that in my very first comment to him. I was just curious of why they repeat the information. And it wasn't an attack. In fact, I told him, hey, nobody's perfect. I'm just asking why the information is being repeated. But I shouldn't have said anything at all. If you can't say something nice, you probably shouldn't. But as a viewer, I was curious. And I know that having this channel and putting it out there for everybody to see my life and to see my personality and to see who I am is absolutely up for criticism. I get it. And you can be critical if you want, obviously, but I don't. So far, the emails and the comments that I've gotten, either publicly or privately, about my channel hasn't been that at all. But I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming. And anytime you put yourself out there, you're going to have those people. I didn't think I was one of those people, but I learned a lot about maybe how to structure what I say. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Maybe you can have a takeaway from it. My takeaway is I need to be really careful about my response to people. Is careful. My response should be careful back. And I hope that you gain some value of information from my videos. I'm not a one-hit wonder. I'm not a one-step person. I'm sitting here in my sewing room, in my embroidery room, just because I have so much work that I've got to get out, and I want to stop and do this video. I do owe a video for the I'll be doing that video probably later today, but I will be putting out a video on our trip to Canton, Texas to see the log homes that we saw. We weren't able to video, they wouldn't allow it, but I'm going to put together a slideshow of that and share my feedback or my review on their product, because we will be looking hard and heavy at log home builders, and as soon as we find our property and figure out how big of a house we can actually have, and what that entails, and how much our money's going to stretch, and get a cost analysis in this right after the spring or during the spring, we're going to be making a trip again, and we're going to take you guys along. So I do owe that video, and I'll let you know it's on my list of things to do. But I'm gonna read from my little book. I always read from my little book, and I read, this was my thought for the day, and it really led to me doing this video. So to my children, just be very compassionate and very sensitive to who you're talking to on social media, because you never know whose lives you're infiltrating and whose lives you're affecting and where they are in the space when they read your comments. So thoughtfulness is key. We need to be thoughtful in our responses. So let me read this real quick, and then I will end the video. This is titled The Real Gift. This is the real gift we have given, the breath of life, designed with unique, one-of-a-kind souls that lives forever. Whether we live our life as joy or with indifference doesn't change the fact that we've been given the gift of being in the now and forever. Priceless in value, we are handcrafted by God, who has a personal design and plan for each of us. And this particular YouTube channel that's thriving, and they're coming up, they're the up-and-comers, I think. They're gaining subscribers really quickly. God has a plan for their life, and I wasn't trying to step on that plan. I was curious. So if that channel knows who I'm talking about, and they stumble across my video, if that makes any sense, if they stumble across this video, my intention, which we never get to see our intention, right? We only see our action. And I preach that around my house all the time. No one sees your intention, but only through your action. And sometimes, even me, I need to remember that. And I want to be a blessing to other people. I don't want to be a critic. And anyway, I hope there's a takeaway for you today. Thank you for joining me for this video, and everybody have a blessed week.